welcome back everybody for this episode of Generational Gains. The topic is to mission or not to mission. What does that mean? Carson and I both serve missions, church missions, and it's a subject that people ask us about all the time. I think, in fact, most people who have not served a mission are so intrigued. They ask so many questions because it's so different. So we're going to talk a little bit about the mission and business life and kind of how that works together and how that's kind of either helped or not helped business. So kick it off. What are your initial thoughts on so first of all, let's just describe what the mission is.
Yeah, what it is in general. Being members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we serve church missions where when I was 18 years old, you were 20,
I was 19.
Went out for 2 years to a place you were called to be. It could be anywhere in the world. He was called to be in Ecuador. I went to the country of Georgia. My sister right now is in Tampa Bay, Florida. She's on a mission right now. And on this 2-year mission, our goal is to serve and build up the community with Christ by being Christ-like to those around us, learning His gospel and preaching it, and just being a part of that community that we're called to serve. And so while we're doing that, obviously there's a lot of highs and lows, pitfalls, things you learn, and we're young when we're doing it. So it's not like we're 20 years of sales experience to go out there and teach people about Christ and to serve. We're young people. And so a lot it comes about with that, and there's a lot of questions about it, just from the outside perspective. And so for me, at least, going to the country of Georgia, I learned a new language. I learned Georgian, which is its own script. It's its own thing, right? It's crazy, and I spent time learning that so that I could be a part of the people, so that I could appeal to them and teach them better from their own familiarity. And beyond learning about that language, learn about the people, being in people's homes, to understand the cultural stigmas and things you have to be aware of. And then trying to teach about Christ is very difficult. Obviously in a different language, being young, being an outsider, a lot of things come from that. So a lot of business accolades, I guess, or accomplishments I've had, I could definitely contribute to that hard experience. And so, at least for you, I would say, what did you learn on your mission about yourself to start?
Good question. I learned a lot about myself.
As you would.
I think I learned. I'm a big Christian, and I actually learned that I have a relationship with God. And I don't feel like I really understood that before my mission. So I feel like that mission is where I created my relationship with God, knowing that there is a God and that I have a relationship with Him. I could feel Him. And so I'd say that's something that I don't know if someone's asked me that question before, what I learned for myself, but I would say that's definitely one thing that I learned about myself.
That's good.
How about you?
I think being stripped away of everything you know and going somewhere, living in a random apartment with random people in a random country with random food, no comfort of home, you're stripped of everything. And after time, it's almost like denial of missing those things. But you get to a point where you understand the simplicity of life. You understand the simplicity of what our purpose is on life, on this earth. And then you're able to build off that foundation of, okay, I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do. Now that I don't care as much about the material things of life, how can I be a better person and to those around me? That's a huge thing I learned.
I mean, what 21-year-old says that? That's the purpose of a mission. Understanding the simplicity and gratefulness for life in general. I think it takes some people decades to say that. In fact, I think most of my friends who are not LDS, they're like, man, I wish I could have done that, or my kids could have done that. And if you just take away for a second the religion, it could be any religion, just take away the specific religion and just talk about the mission that you just shared, it's powerful. I think the military is powerful. I think that is a growing opportunity as well, where you have to learn how to live with people who didn't grow up like you. And so the lessons learned about patience and suffering and rejection, I think that's probably the one thing that I also took away from it that you shared in a prior podcast. Is that it's going to be okay, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to accomplish what I'm going to accomplish. Like, I never doubted myself. And in my mission.
Well, that's huge, business-wise.
Yeah. I went through some of the most difficult things on mission, and I think so did you. But since I was able to overcome that, and I grew this kind of courage and confidence, and knowing that I could overcome, like, talking to and being in a hard place for so long, that I could do anything. And I think that's how it was when you said in that last podcast, when you're like, I was going to go to Arkansas and I just was going to figure it out. And you knew you would. You don't just go out and have that confidence without first going through some experience before that. Where you learned your confidence.
I remember the first day, it's 16-hour flight, 10-hour time change, 12-hour time change. So I'm super jet lagged. The next morning I wake up and I just open the doors and I see out, like, just such unfamiliarity, like such a different place that you never would have woken up to. And then being able to just go downstairs out of the apartment, walk on the streets and be like, all right, well, this is my life. And then just figure it out. It's crazy. So one of the things, we can transition into business here. Like one of the biggest things I learned was I was on my mission at the point when social media is becoming a thing around the world. It's becoming a great marketing tool. It's becoming a way to, instead of push things on people, we're taught, most sales is pushing things out, selling. But the world's becoming a marketplace where to sell, you have to pull. You have to pull people in. You have to bring them in, and you want those people to be your leads. You don't want your leads to be those you're pushing on and selling as hard as you can.
You want them asking about it.
You want them asking about it, and you want to be pulling people in. And that's what marketing is transitioning to. So on my mission, I learned that, first of all, and that's been helpful for me to do anything. But beyond that, I was in charge of social media for my mission. I said, okay, well, we got to build a Jesus Christ church page for Georgia. And you have to be in control of it, and we want to build followers, we want to build a community, and we want to spread love. How do you do that? And so I had to build a team of other missionaries and build out a marketing plan of how we're going to post things, what we're going to post, what videos we're going to make, who's going to film what. And so I had to learn how to do social media and how to pull, how to market. I wasn't a missionary like you were, where you knock doors and you learn that rejection of being on the streets all day. I had to learn how to pull people in. And so that has been a huge tool for me in business, of learning how to market to people and how to build relationships that last more than just one quick sell. But it's building a recurring transaction.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing I learned, what helped me in my business is, as a missionary, we didn't have social media 23 years ago. We did knock doors if they had doors, or we would just say, a ver, and they'd come out of their cane shacks and come talk to us.
Crazy.
Which is crazy, but we would get rejected so many times. So I built this, understanding that you got to get enough no's before you get a yes. So that was number one. But then I also learned real quickly that knocking doors and walking the streets was the least effective way of success. And the best effective way of success, won't be any surprise to you, we just talked about it, was members or people like-minded sharing with their friends and family. Saying, hey, look, I believe in this. You should hear the missionaries talk about this.
Referrals.
Referrals.
Yeah.
So we talk about relationships and trust. I learned on my mission that I was working really hard, not smart. I was knocking all the doors. I was talking to everyone on the streets.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the smart way. the smart way I learned later on my mission is using the relationships you have, using it, and not in a bad sense of using, but like talking to them and having them share with their friends with us about what our message was. And so that's when I started having way more success in my mission and having more fun, because now, look, walking the streets, sweating your butt off is not ideal. And so that, I think, is something I learned in my mission.
Yeah, that's great. You know, there's a lot of tools that you're also given on a mission to learn, be a better teacher, be a better educator, be a better friend. But now, living that life, I had to learn how to be a leader. I had to learn how to be organized and take care of myself so I can take care of others, and lead the people around me so that we can all build together. And now that's what I'm trying to do in my business. I want to be organized, in control, and lead by example, and bringing people with me and building a camaraderie around that.
I think that's a good point. I feel like when you are a missionary, it's one thing they have, it's very organized. There's a lot of structure. So there's like missionaries and district leaders and zone leaders and APs, and just everything's very well organized. On my mission, I feel like I was able to relate to and find the type of leadership qualities I liked. So I think on your point that you shared, I think it's great. Like, I became a leader on my mission too by virtue of experience, by seeing which leaders I liked and which ones I didn't like. There was people who would tell me what to do, or they would share with me their successes and why they were important, and that's who I gravitated towards.
That's great.
And so, but it also took, I think, in my mission, you know, I think in anyone's mission, willing to accept and learn and listen. I think a lot of times we're set in our ways because maybe your parents were this way, so that's the way you are. But maybe your parents weren't the best leaders, or didn't share the message in the most easy way to understand. And so I was able to learn from people on a mission a better way to communicate.
That's great. So now that you have your company, your office, your people, do you feel like, do you have any stories, I guess, maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but of being able to lead by example and seeing your employees and your staff improve and build with you?
Well, I'd have to ask them that question. I would say so. I would say that the culture of your company tells you how you're doing as a leader. And so, yes, I could ask them that question, but in general, and you know, we do ask some surveys on certain individuals and on us sometimes, but I would say our culture is what tells me how we're doing. And I think there's just different types of leaderships, ways of leading. And so my way of leading is letting people come with solutions to the problem. I'm not one of those dictator leaders that's like, hey, look, here's the problem, here's how you go fix it. Unless it's like something very specific. I like them to lead. I like them to fail, little failures, for them to learn. And so, but they also like that I'm also not overbearing. And so that's just my leadership style. It doesn't mean that's the right style for everyone. In fact, people who need to be managed, like managed hard, don't succeed in our culture, in our company. And that's okay. They go find a culture where someone tells them, this is how many phone calls you have to make. They want to be told exactly what to do. And that's not a bad thing. That's just not what I've created.
And that's hard. Like, I think about what I'm trying to do and the goals I have. I feel like I micromanage myself and others just because I want things done fast the way I would do it, just because it's what you were trying to do. It's like, you know, I have to learn how to be more patient, how to be more, like you said, letting people take the lead and figuring it out themselves. And by doing that, one, it takes stuff off your plate and allows you to spend time on other things that will help everyone. But that's hard to be able to do.
Well, you got to be willing, I think, in general, to do most of the things that you're asking them to do. And I think you do that. I know Alex has probably seen me. Alex is taping this today, so he's probably seen me take the trash out. I'm not too big for those things once in a while, right? But it's not really necessarily about that. It's just about the people that appreciate the way you lead are going to follow you. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. That they just need a different kind of leadership style. And so I don't think there's necessarily a your style or my style is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that's come out of the mission for sure. Look, the mission, and I think in work, I mean, a lot of people ask me, oh, that's why all the call centers are in Utah, because all the Mormon missionaries, and it's true, actually. LDS missionaries are used to rejection, are used to talking and building trust and relationships over the phone or with individuals all day long. And so that is why very successful marketing firms are in Utah, because of 2 years of school of hard knocks of teaching and talking about religion it's a good foundation for people.
100%.
So to wrap up here, look, the mission has been definitely a great foundation to me in business and also in my family life. And I guess my last takeaway on this is it's taught me a lot of compassion and love. I think my mission, my mom taught that well to me as well, but I feel like my mission, when you're constantly serving others, you grow this love for others, and then you have more success. And I feel like that's carried with me still in my business. I love the people I work with. It might have taken me a while to find those people that I love, but I love my partners and I love those I work with. And I think that's a big takeaway for me in the mission.
Yeah. Love's a good thing to end on. I think that's something you learn. You're loving people all day. You're trying to love them. But for me, I would say the last thing I learned is my priorities of my life, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish, in what order, and how I can live my life, basically. What I need to do once I get home from the mission, and I feel like I'm on track. I was dating Anna before I left my mission. I came home and we were able to get married this year. And now I have that foundation of my family. And now I'm able to go and work on my business with her support. And as my business grows, we're going to grow in our family. And then as just things in life develop, I'm going to always have that foundation to look back on. So, we always end with sweet, sour, and service. And I think that's my sweet just today. That's been a great conversation. And this has been fun to talk about and reflect on. I got home from my mission about 2 years ago. So it's still kind of fresh for me to think about. And my sour for today is, I mentioned it on the last podcast we did, but this week we're going to Vegas to attend Dana's grandmother's funeral. And I've only been to 1 or 2 funerals. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not great with those things. I don't get too emotional, so it'll be good for me to be there and support her and our family as well. But service to end on is, it's Jessica's birthday this week, and we're coming over today, and we're gonna help build, make dinner for her and to just spend time with her family.
Great. My sweet, I'm gonna echo yours. This was really nice. I think today was nice day spending with you. I'm always, I think this is more for us than anybody, and we appreciate you listening, but this is quality time, and I love spending time with Carson. So that's a sweet for me. A sour is, I didn't surf last week at all. That's a sour for me. And my service is going to be the same as his. We're going to help make dinner tonight for Jessica for her birthday. So anyways, thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining.
Talk to you soon.